Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast, which is an Easter special. But we're just quite weird, as I said to Sam before, because it may not be the first episode of the year that's going out, but it might. It's all around like kind of, I guess, space and time kind of stuff. Everything's not quite in the right order. But today we're going to be speaking about Sam, like with music, all the different stuff he's done. Not only Doctor Who, we can talk about Traitors, as I know at the moment while we're recording. I think the new episodes of Traitors for this week's run are going out today. Um, so yeah, we can talk about that as well. But Sam, thank you for coming on today.
You're very welcome. It's nice to be here.
Yeah. So I guess to for anyone who doesn't know you or know what you do, would you mind just doing a brief say a little bit about yourself?
Of course. I'm Sam Watts. I'm a composer. I write music for film and television. So um, I spend my days in a studio in front of screens, banging away on a keyboard. Um, but yeah, so I started as an assistant to another composer called George Fenton, and then moved off on my own. And I worked on Planet Earth and the Sarah Jane Adventures and uh, Tales of the Tardis and Traitors and all sorts of things. So yeah, that's kind of me.
Yeah. Uh, is it fun? Do you find it fun doing all kind of music for all those different shows?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It can be very frustrating and very difficult and very tiring at times, but that's I think everyone's jobs are like that. But it's a lot of fun, and I get to work with some really lovely people. So yeah, I'm very lucky.
Yeah, it is very good. Because I think music, like for me, for when doing different podcast stuff, like when I write them up, I will always listen to music and preferably soundtracks, because I love listening to like soundtracks for different shows, like Sarah Jane Adventures or just anything really. More into Doctor Who side, but when I did, because I like the trailers as well. When I heard the theme and all the different themes, it is very good. That the kind of music and that as well.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun to do. Traitors was a lot of fun to do, and the music on Doctor Who is always just fantastic. And so yeah, working on any of those kinds of any of the sister shows like I've done, there's a lot of pressure that you put on yourself because there have been so many fantastic composers before you that you work really hard to try and get it as good as you can.
Yeah, it is. It is. I suppose it's hard, especially like with really big shows that have been going on for a while. But so because like with Traitors, so because what did you have to do any additional music to what you done on the first series to the second series?
I did do a little bit of extra music for the second series. Sorry, I'm. If you can, you might be able to hear. There's a snowblower going on outside because we had a lot of snow last night. So
No, that's
I
fine.
apologise if there's a hum going on behind me. But yes, I did some new music for the second series, which was great. It was really nice to be asked back.
Yeah. Yeah. So with watching it, are you kind of a fan, or have you watched all the episodes prior to it, or do you know what's gonna like? Would you have to watch all the episodes to put the music in, or do you just put the music in anyway in the show?
So the way I'm not allowed to talk too much about how production is done because we have lots of um, there's lots of secrecy about how the whole show is made to try and keep it fresh for everyone.
Mm.
But I'll answer the fan question. I'm a massive fan um, because when I was asked to do it, they showed me the original version, the Dutch version, and as soon as I saw, I was only gonna watch like one episode, maybe half an hour or just something, to get an idea for the format, and it hooked me in straight away. And I had to watch every single episode, and I was really invested in it. And that's when I knew I wanted to do the show. Um, so yeah, I'm a huge fan. I adore Claudia. I think she's a brilliant host. And the production team are lovely. It's a lot of fun to work on, and I think they're great at casting. Their casting is amazing. The people they have on are perfect. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of the show.
Yeah, I am too, actually.
I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because I actually in this current series, I actually know someone that's gone in. Um, I have I don't know them
Oh, really?
personally, but like 2 years ago they came on my podcast, and because on my podcast I talk about all different kind of things. So
Oh, cool.
and it's Molly who's in
Oh, I
it.
love Molly. She's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, and
And
because she talked about ulcerative colitis a little bit in I
yeah,
think
yeah,
one of the last episodes, and that's what she came on for. She kind of shared her journey as well.
awesome. I love that. I think it's great that that kind of representation is becoming much more mainstream, especially for things like Crohn's and colitis that have an unnecessary, embarrassing sort of stigma to them, which is just so silly. So yeah, I love seeing people like Molly. Just and it was so throwaway. It was just and by the way, it's perfect. It's great. It's the exactly the kind of thing we need to normalize all of these sorts of things.
Yeah, I I hope she goes as far as she can because she's not up to her with the like because she is a faithful. So who knows? But I hope she goes far in the show. By the time this goes out, they would know. But
We all know by then, yeah.
yeah, I'll know by then. But I actually I have Crohn's, so that's how kind of my show kind of came from. And then as time goes on, I thought if I bring people on about hobbies, we that's how we raise awareness for different stuff. That's not people don't know as much. But like you say, it's becoming more aware now with people going on to different programs to raise awareness.
Yeah, absolutely. And I grew up, a family friend of ours has Crohn's. So it's something that I've always known about from being a little kid. Um, and yeah, it's fantastic. I think this is a great way of raising awareness. And
Yeah.
yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it's great. Like because last year and the year before, I did a series called Doctor Who and Autism Celebrations. Well, yeah, last year it was called that because it was the 60th. And I'd called that because I have autism and everyone knows what Doctor Who is. They should do. But and then they won't know as much about autism, and that's how you kind of raise that awareness for that extra thing because everyone gonna know about Doctor Who, but maybe not so much the other thing. So that's how I kind of did it, and it did really well actually.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. And yeah, that's a great way of doing it. And again, autism, another thing that has a lot of misunderstanding and a lot of misinformation out there about it. And yeah, it's good to inform people properly.
Definitely, it really is. So I guess with Doctor Who, have you always been a fan like yourself
Oh,
before?
yeah. I remember being a kid and um, having a. I remember watching Sylvester McCoy and Sophie Aldred. So Sylvester was my doctor, um, and Sophie was actually my first crush. I loved Ace. So yeah, I've been a fan since I was probably four.
Yeah,
So a very very long time now.
me too actually. I think that's the age I was a fan. For. um, but I guess my crush at the time probably would have been Rose, like Billie Piper at the time, because I think everyone was really at that
Oh
kind
yeah.
at that moment. Um, because and then she came back half a dozen times, I think. But yeah, and then ever since then, I thought it was gonna be a phase. You know, you just watch a program, and then you go out of it, and then as you can see, it's not the case.
No, and I don't think Doctor Who's going anywhere. And um, it's such a it's such a wonderful show. It's the basic idea of it is so brilliant, and um, you can talk about anything when you're making a show like Doctor Who. You can do all sorts of stories, um, it, and they are truly universal. You know, pardon the pun. And yeah, I don't think it's going to go anywhere, even though it got cancelled in the 80s and things like that. But I just think as long as there are people out there who love it, it's going to keep going. And I don't think there's ever going to be people out there, or not be people out there who love it. So
Yeah, it's always going to be there, and it's going to continue. I think
mm,
for a long time, and yeah. So, with the Sarah Jane Adventures,
mm.
was that how? I guess you were really happy when you got that opportunity to do that because you actually was a fan.
Oh, I was thrilled, and terrified at the same time, and we didn't know that it was going to turn into a series. We did the special for the new year because Liz, in school reunion, the reaction to school reunion was so huge. Everyone loved it and loved Liz, so we knew that she was popular, but we didn't know that the show was going to do what it did. And that New Year special, the invasion of the Bane, um, was so much fun to do. But I did it, and I thought, well, that's nice. I've done some Doctor Who stuff now, and I don't think I'll ever get to do any more. And then it got picked up for a series, and we did 5 years of it, and it was glorious. It was such a wonderful show to make.
Yeah, and then you had, I think, at least two doctors in it in the Sarah Jane Adventures.
We did. We had Matt and David, which was also really cool because then I got to write music for the doc. So I've now written music for 5 of the Doctors. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah, it's very fun because I think the doctors have the really good music, don't they? Eh,
Oh yeah, yeah. There's some great themes for the Doctor that have been written.
yeah, I love that scene. You know, in the Sarah Jane Adventures where I think Matt Smith, he came and then he was getting swapped with Clyde. Um,
Yes, yeah. That's
yeah,
not my hand.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. That was
yeah.
fun.
That was a fun one. But yeah, I think Sarah Jane, I think because how popular she was, which is maybe why the series took off, and how well it done because of how loved Sarah Jane was anyway. But I think it was really good. And then of course with the Tale to the Tardis, like Joe and I think yeah Clyde, they came back for a
Mm.
little bit.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice having uh, Clyde pop up, and always good to see Joe. Katie Manning is wonderful. So yeah, Tales of the TARDIS was really special because um, we were all basically making our love letter to Doctor Who, you know, which was really nice. And I got to write music for my Doctor for Sylvester and Sophie. So that was really special.
Yeah, it really was, and like I watched that not watching any of the other episodes that was in it before.
Mm,
So it was kind of a treat for me because it was great, you know. It was it was another good series. I think I start to more things, exciting things to come, but for the
Um,
universe.
I expect so. I don't know very much about what they're planning, but I suspect, knowing Russell, there will be lots of grand plans, and I'm very excited to see what comes.
Yeah, and I know in it like he had his own like documentary not
Hmm.
a few weeks ago, and at the end I was laughing because he was saying that he has things planned for like 2026 already.
Well, I listened to the. I couldn't go over sadly because I live in Canada now. Um, but I couldn't go over to the UK for the 60th anniversary concert that they did in Wales, at Hodnett Hall. Um, but he made a comment about plans for series offhand comment plans for series 4, I think it was, of Doctor Who. So he's obviously thinking very far in the future, as he always does.
Yeah, and I mean, what did you think of the 60th? Like, did you like it?
I loved it. Um I thought they were great stories. I thought they were really well made. They've made with love again, and I think it's a very exciting new start for Doctor Who. And that's one of the great things about the show, is that you can start fresh every time, anytime you want to, and I know that people, there has been some division over some of the decisions, and some people like the changes that are being made and some people don't. But do you know what? I think it's really exciting to see where it goes. It was lovely having David and Catherine back, because they're just gold on screen.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that Shooty and Millie are going to be phenomenal as well. They light up the screen, and it just all looks so joyful and so fun. And the uh, the Wild Blue Yonder episode was so bonkers. It was so utterly bonkers. um, but it was brilliant, and it worked so well, and it was just that it was the essence of what Doctor Who is for me. The farthest reaches of our imagination put on screen. And yeah, so I cannot wait to see the new series. I'm so excited as a fan. I am so excited.
Yeah, can't wait to May. Um,
Right?
yeah, can't wait to May. Like I loved it as well, the 60th. Um, I did, and it was very unexpected. Didn't expect to see what I saw. Um, I don't like to rank episodes, because I like them all, like they were
Mm,
all so good. I really liked last episode though, the giggle, because we saw something we'd never seen before. Like doctors coming out of each other, and how cool
yeah,
that was. Very cool when when that happened.
it was a really. I like the idea that it these things can develop. We can write new ideas, and bring new ideas to a show. Um, and I think it works really well, because with Tales of the Tardis, the idea there is it feels like it's all kind of linked in together, with the fact that we're seeing previous doctors, but they're older than they used to be. But that's because, yes, they may have regenerated in one timeline, but they're continuing in another timeline, or they're someone's memory, or there's so many different readings of what's going on. But yeah, it's great. It's really exciting to see where it goes.
Yeah, I completely agree, because I think a line that Sylvester says, that sometimes we regenerate and sometimes we don't," and that kind of leads into the 60th really, because David Tennant
Yeah,
doesn't really
it's
regenerate; he passes it on.
yeah, it's almost like Russell knows what he's doing, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, I know. Like you say, I know there's there's mixed opinions about it, but when isn't there in Doctor Who? There's always going to be mixed opinions about anything.
There are always, and especially and I think that's a really good sign of how great the show is, because people love it. And when you love something, you're going to have really strong opinions about it, and you're not everyone's going to agree, and that's absolutely fine, because that's how the world works. So yeah, and I think the thing to remember is that not every episode of every TV show is made for every person, because you can't do that. Um, so you have to have different subject matters, you have to have different things going on, and different people will like different things, and that's all okay.
Yeah, that is all okay, and like sometimes we're going to prefer um we have doctors that we like more, but they're all good, but we just might have a better connection to one than another. It might be on a personal level, or not. But they're all good, and all episodes are good, but we just might like some more than others. Like, I think the Toymaker was really good. Was a really good addition that in the 60th. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, it was great bringing that character back. And Neil Patrick Harris is always fantastic. So that was fun. Do you know the really really the randomness of the Spice Girls song in it? I howled with laughter. It was just so good. I loved that.
It's stuck in my head for weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean that it's a great. It was funny because the Spice Girls actually, I think they posted it, and I don't think they tagged Doctor Who in it, saying like it's great to see the Toymaker as a well, with our song. So yeah, I that is br- what makes the episode really fun, because it's very intense at the start. I think the giggle with the Toymaker
Mm.
in the shop, and then it goes pretty fast after that. Um,
And this is something that Russell does very, very well with his writing. He's very clever. He can take incredibly tough and dark subjects and he injects some humor into them so that it's just not all really dark and difficult. And it just helps, it gives you that as an audience a moment to just breathe and have fun and have something a bit light-hearted before it gets back to being a difficult subject. You know, we did some really big concepts in Sarah Jane. I remember, you know, we dealt with death and all sorts of different things that a lot of people would say, oh, well, you know, if you're making TV for sort of 6 to 12-year-olds, you've got to be careful of the subject matter. But Russell's big thing there was we have to make full blooded drama, you know, big, proper drama, but it happens to be for kids. And that's how we made it. And I think that's the beauty of shows like Doctor Who and the Sarah Jane Adventures is that they can tackle those subjects and tackle them well.
that I agree, and I think Russell's done really well with like Flux, like from where it was left off previously, and like especially the little mentions in the 60th were really well done. I thought. I think they were really good, because it's good that it's not forgotten from Jodie's run. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, weaving all of those little bits in from other series and again, that's a beauty of Doctor Who. There's such a rich past. There are so many stories that have already been told. The Doctor has had so many lives. We don't know how many lives the Doctor's had. So many lives. And yeah, you can always go back to past experience that the Doctor's had or a future experience that the Doctor's had that might be a past experience. Who knows? Because timey-wimey. Um, it's great. That was really nicely done, and I think that's why all the 60th stuff for me worked really well because it felt like a full celebration of every single Doctor Who story that's ever been made. You know.
Yeah, and I agree, and I was actually quite unexpected. I didn't expect what the Toymaker done when he was talking about all the different companions
Mm.
and Flux. And my favourite part is him mentioning Flux, just the way he says it. I just laugh, you know, the way like he says, "Oh, done and noble," and I just love that, and I love that just the Doctor's. He's so angry in his head. He don't want to say anything, but he's so angry. But I just love that how drawn the Doctor is to the Toymaker and the whole 60th as a whole, because it started off really well with the like with the Star Beast, and then
Hmm.
Wild Blue Yonder was very good because it was very in a concept of Midnight in a way, but very different. Like you,
Yeah,
which I think is great. Just having two David Tennants and two Catherine Tates is awesome.
can't get enough of those two.
No. But I think in a way Russell has left it open for in the future if the pair of them want to come back again, they can, because that they're at they're just having their lives now. Um,
They're relaxing in Paris. Yeah.
yeah. Um, and and then it just leads the events for the 15th Doctor now, which are very exciting.
Yeah, very, very exciting. Can't wait to see where that all goes.
Yeah. And I think he's in loads of costumes, isn't he? Shooty Gatwa. For every episode.
Yeah. I like that the Doctor has an outfit. I think that's kind of a nice thing, but I like that Shooty's Doctor has outfits, plural, lots of outfits. Um, and I think that that's very indicative of how Doctor Who is. The character of the actor also partially informs the Doctor. You know, Shooty is a very, very handsome, very fashionable person. And it's unsurprising that his version of the Doctor is, you know, handsome, charismatic, fashionable. So yeah, I'm excited to see all of the outfits. It's going to be fun. I loved it.
Yeah, because he was in, I think, the Christmas special we just had, but 4, I think. Um,
Yeah, something like the. I liked the kilt. The kilt was great.
yeah, the kilt. Yeah, I think he had 2. He had the kilt with the white top, and then the kilt with the jacket and the yellow top. Um, where the
Yeah,
snowman fell on
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was fun.
Yeah. Um, and I think that was, I believe that was the last thing to get shot, because that was quite recent to the episode airing, I think.
Right.
But yeah, it's very good, Shooty. It's going to be a pain for cosplayers, isn't it? Because everyone's gonna be, I've got to get this one, I've got to get this one now.
Or it's going to be a joy for cosplayers because
Yeah.
do you know what? I bet there are some cosplayers out there who will see one specific outfit that Shooty wears that really speaks to them, and they can do that, and it will mean that when you go to conventions, there'll be dozens and dozens of 15ths, but they'll all be in something different. But everyone will know that they're the 15th, you know,
Yeah.
which I think is really cool.
Yeah, because I think that would be cool, because like you have one in his 90/20 outfit, one in his other outfit. But yeah, because that's unlike any other Doctor, isn't it? Like Doctors normally have about 2 or 3, maybe 1 for the first season, then they'll change it up.
Hmm.
But it's very rare, so it's Doctors like no other.
Yeah, yeah, it's great.
Yeah. But would you like to like, I guess it's a no-brainer. If something come up in the future, like another Doctor Who spin-off, which you got asked to write music for, would you want to come back and write something else, like for
Oh,
future series?
absolutely. The team who make Doctor Who know that I will always make time for them. Um, I really, really enjoy working with Russell and Julian Phil and producers like Scott Hancock. And so we've known each other for a very, very long time now. We've all known each other for sort of 17, 18 years. So yeah, it must be 18 years now. Um, and I know lots of people talk about, you know, the productions that they're working on and things, but there is something really, really special about working with the Doctor Who team, with that team. Um, the way that Russell and Julie run things, the freedom that you're given, just the collaboration, because all of it is so collaborative. It's all a conversation. It's all working together to make the best thing you possibly can. It's really, really great. I love working with that team. So yeah, they know that if they want me to take over from Murray on Doctor Who, I will happily do it. If they want me to do spin-offs, I will happily do it. I will always make time for them.
Have you ever worked with Murray on anything?
Yeah, so I worked of again a very long time ago. I worked with Murray. I actually orchestrated the last little bit of the episode, the Shakespeare Code, because his Ben Foster, his orchestrator at the time, was unwell, and I had to step in and help. And I did some work on the first Doctor Who album for Murray. So yeah, I've known Murray for a very long time, and worked with him for a little while.
Yeah. I hope you do get to come back and do some more.
Oh,
Um,
thank you. Yes, so
yeah.
do I.
Yeah, yeah, because I think like from what like with the Sarah Jane theme is wonderful. Um, it's a very good theme. A very iconic theme even to this day. Loads of
Yeah,
people
well,
still listen to it.
that was written by Murray, and I did some orchestration on that one. And yeah, it's a good theme. And it was fun to be. It was nice to get to use some of Murray's music through Sarah Jane. So I used that theme every so often.
Yeah. Did Because you worked on the Sarah Jane, did you get to meet any of like the cast members or anything?
Yeah, so um I know Angeli and Danny and Tommy a little bit. Every so the odd message still every so often. Actually, a friend of mine last year was at a Doctor Who convention in Los Angeles called Gallifrey One, which is a fantastic convention. Um, and I got a call from him, sort of, I don't know what it was, 9 o'clock at night or something. Um, and he said, do you want to talk to Danny? I was not expecting a phone call even, so I was very thrown. I was like, Danny? He's like, yeah, let me put you on. I'll put him on. And he was standing with Daniel Anthony, and we had a little catch up, which was very, very nice. Um, and but yeah, and I met Liz quite a few times, and she was uh, just everything that you would want her to be. She was a beautiful human being. She was just so lovely, so warm, so friendly. She had time for everyone. She was interested in everyone. She was never a diva at all on set. She was just lovely. And I know Mina Anwar, who played Geeta. Mina is another very lovely human being, and very funnily enough, we did. So we I went to the read through of Invasion of the Bane in Cardiff, and very briefly met Samantha Bond, who plays Mrs. Wormwood, which was very nice, and she was very lovely, and they did the thing. And then a number of years later, I was in just randomly in a Sainsbury's in London, and the checkout person had to run off and do something. And I turned to the person behind me and was like, oh, always when you're in a rush kind of thing. And we had a little chat. And then I just said, I'm really sorry. You look so much like Samantha Bond. And she said, well, I am Samantha Bond. That's why. And then we were like, oh, and she said, you look familiar. And I was like, yes, we met each other about 6 years ago at a read through in a thing. And it was very funny. But yes, so yeah, no, they're a lovely cast, really nice group
Yeah,
of people.
yeah, because I see like especially like Joe goes to a lot of them. Um, like Joe Grant. Uh, she's lovely.
Katie
Yeah,
Manning.
yeah, yeah. I say it in Doctor Who terms because you just know them as that, don't you?
Yeah, well, you do, and you fall in love with those characters,
Yeah,
and they live in your home, don't they? But yeah, Katie Manning is lovely, and anytime I see her at a convention, she's always got a massive hug for me, and yeah, I've been on quite a few panels at conventions with Katie, and she is a scream, an absolute scream. She's great.
she is. She's so nice. Because I think I went to the convention last year, and the guy in charge said to me, "Has anyone here not met Katie Manning before?" And a few of us put our hands up, and then they said, warning that she will give you a massive hug. Um, and yeah, I wasn't prepared for that, but it was really nice. Like I had to even hug even people who were with me not getting anything signed. Like like they gave them a hug, and she was super friendly. So
Yeah, she is. She's really, really lovely. And I think one of the nice things about the casts who work on the Doctor Who shows is we really well, they and all of us on the cruise as well, we really understand that the show is made what it is by the fans. You know, there's such a fantastic fan community out there. There's so much love for the show, um, that whenever I've been to conventions, it's such a lovely feeling, and that people love this show so much, and we do really, really appreciate that, and especially members of the cast who have genuine affection for all of the fans. And it's just such a nice thing to see. And yeah, Katie will hug everyone because she's just such a lovely person.
yeah. She was, and she's a very busy person because I think when she was there, she said, "I'm going off to Australia next week
Oh, blimey.
to do see family and go to more conventions." And I guess it's a thing. Once you get into Doctor Who, it's something that you want to do, I guess. But not everyone will. But I guess you like it going to conventions that everyone's there for you. Like want to see you, want to talk to you about what you've done and all that.
Well, do you know what? Do you know why I like going to conventions? Not because it's a big ego stroke that people love it. I like going to conventions because it is really nice being involved in that kind of that kind of experience. Um, so I mentioned it before. I'll mention it again. Gallifrey One in LA, run by a friend of ours, Sean. I love go. I haven't been for a few years, and I want to go again soon. Um, it's like a big family, and that's what Doctor Who has done. There's this giant family, and I remember last time I went was 2020, just before the pandemic hit. Um, we actually flew out of LA on the day that LA announced a state of emergency. Um, but we were there at Gallifrey One, and we were all on stage at the end saying our goodbyes. And I remember saying on stage to everyone how much I love going and how much of a family it is, and what a special experience it always is to go, because you can feel how much everyone loves the show. And it's a really special thing.
Yeah, I think that's a really nice way to put it. Um, like that you have time because you just want to be there. Like you are a fan yourself.
Yeah, oh,
Before.
absolutely, absolutely. I've very much enjoyed, um, being in the green room and sitting there, and there's, there's Peter Davison, there's Peter Davison, and you turn into a fan yourself when you're there, and it's like
Yeah,
having a chat with Sylvester McCoy, and then you go away and you're like, I can't believe I've just spoken to Sylvester McCoy. um and it makes I like going to them because it makes me a little kid again.
yeah.
I remember watching it when I was a kid, and it brings all of that back.
Yeah, it was the same for me actually, like last year, because I was just scrolling on Facebook and it came up that David Tennant was going to a convention, and I was thinking to myself, I've got to do it. I might not get this another opportunity, because David Tennant was my doctor, is my doctor. So when I met him, I think I was the longest one. Yeah, I spoke to him for 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Wow.
And that's long. It may not seem long, but it's long for speaking to Dave Tennant or anyone at a convention.
Mm,
Um, and like I was put in the front of the queue because of my Crohn's and being immunocompromised. I didn't want to be in a long
mm.
queue. So as you can imagine, David Tennant's queue go out the door. Um, so I'm there, and his two bodyguards are with him. I think you've got a bodyguard standing there, and then because I was taunting him, it was almost like a mini interview.
Mm,
It was kind of like a mini interview, like saying because whenever I meet someone, I always think about my questions. I know people, you know, when you go to convention and they'll say to them, "Are you coming back to Doctor Who?" And in my mind, they're not going to answer them type of questions. They'll probably say, "Yes, I would love to," but they're not going to properly answer you. So I think of my question, and my question, one of my questions was to David Tennant, is without telling me what happened in the 6th year, because this was before the 6th year.
mm.
What would you say it's going to be like? Is it going to be unexpected and stuff? And he said that, he said it's going to be unexpected, and you're going to expect some things and not expect some things. And then I showed him because I like going to the different Doctor Who locations. And
Mm.
the episode The Girl in the Fireplace, where he's on a rock out on in the garden where on a scene out in the garden. But I went there, did the same kind of way he was, and then I showed him the picture and he laughed
Cool.
because it was
Yeah.
side by side and stuff. But yeah, it was. I was surprised how long I got, but then I had to go. I think the last thing I said to him was Adamsy, and he didn't have time to say it back because of how busy he is. But yeah, it's as nice as he is on the telly.
Oh, he is really very, very lovely. Haven't I met him once, um, and he was very, very nice. Very nice indeed. Yeah. Genuinely lovely. But I think that's I I honestly think that's part of the way Doctor Who is made, um, and the outlook that people have, the people who make Doctor Who, and its you know, its spin-offs. We're very lucky. We work with very nice people, so you kind of have to be very nice to work on it because otherwise you're not really gonna, you know, you're not gonna get along. If you're not gonna get along with everyone, if you're not gonna, you know, be nice to everyone, then it doesn't make it a fun experience. And so yeah, I've been amazed at how lovely absolutely everyone is.
Is it unlike anything that you've because like I spoke to other people, been Doctor Who and stuff, and they always tell me that it's not like nothing they've been on before or been a part of. Is that the same for you? Like it's not like anything else.
I think so. I think it's very rare to work on those sorts of things, with those kinds of people. Um, I wouldn't say that it's certainly not the only thing that I've worked on where I've liked everyone. I've been very, very lucky in my career, and everyone I've worked with has been brilliant. And so, you know, I understand how lucky I am with that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, there is something very special about working on these shows, and working with the people. And yeah, it is kind of like nothing else. It's really magical.
Yeah. Right. The new Tardis is lovely, isn't it?
Oh, I love the new
Yeah.
TARDIS. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's but I do worry. I think it's going to be a nightmare to clean.
Yeah.
It's got very high ceilings. It's all white. You know, it's going to show every stain. It's so I don't know, but yeah, no, it is. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, I think out of all the three specials, there's sort of moments out all of them, like you know those well because it's 60th. There's like 1 minute out, all of them are just awesome. Like the first special, I'd say, um, you know when David he's like a kid in the
Yeah,
TARDIS and like he says, "This is amazing" and stuff like that. So I love that scene.
yeah, it's a great scene when he's running around it, and yeah, it's really
Yeah,
good.
yeah, and then having Wilf back one last time,
I know
was
that was
lovely.
lovely. Yeah,
I adored that scene. Until we saw a post from Russell. I didn't know if it was going to be his last, but it was. It was.
mm.
I think it was good that way, rather than having him. And as well, it would have been nice to have him in the giggle as well. But it was good he had his own separate scene just for him, rather than
Yeah, it
yeah,
was, and I think that um, I mean, Bernard Cribbins was an amazing actor and a true gentleman, a lovely, lovely man. And I think there was something really very nice in a way about his last television appearance being Doctor Who. I think um, he's got a very special place in a lot of people's hearts, and so does Doctor Who. And I think that was sort of a really lovely, lovely final thing.
It really was, and like you had so many mentions as well in that last episode of him and Sarah Jane. I didn't expect that actually at the end, where they were talking about Shooty and David. They sprung up a few names for the song Rose,
Hmm.
Sarah Jane. And I do think if she was still with us, that I'm sure she would have been a part of that 60th anniversary.
Oh, at the drop of a hat. I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, Liz loved Doctor Who. Um,
yeah.
yeah.
It was wonderful. But I think last year was great with Doctor Who, and it was just a start. Um, so with you being over like in the States, would have you have watched that on Disney Plus then? Like,
Yeah, so in I'm up in Canada, and yeah, we I was very, very pleased when it was announced that it was on Disney on Disney Plus, because it means we I for and it's I don't think it should be underestimated what a fantastic and huge thing it is for Doctor Who fans globally that we can watch it at the same time as as people in the UK now. So it's made it a really exciting event again. So yeah, I've been watching it all on Disney Plus, and then annoying Russell with lots of text messages afterwards about how much I've enjoyed it, and then wanting him to tell me all the secrets of everything that's coming up, and him telling me absolutely none of them.
yeah, yeah, you'll have to ask him. Like, keep asking him what is happening in the next episode, Russell.
I know. I'm like, who's this character? What's this character going to do? What's and his response is always something like, "Wouldn't you like to know?"
Yeah, who, who's Mrs.
He's played
Flood?
tough. Right.
Yeah. Do you have any theories yourself, or who you think it may
Mrs.
be?
Flood. Oh, I think there's lots of possible theories for Mrs. Flood. I think. Um, I mean, one is that she could be the master, but I don't think that's likely. I think she could potentially be a regeneration of River Song, but I I don't know whether that's likely. I don't know. Russell and the team are very wily, and they're very good at making us think far too much about things. So I wouldn't want to put any money on who I think she's going to turn out to be. I am just very, very excited to see where that story goes.
Yeah, I think on Unleashed, Russell said this is going to be a slow thing, so it's not going to be. You're not going to find out very fast. I think it will over the next few series. I think we'll eventually find out.
Well,
Um,
we'll have to wait and see, won't we?
yeah,
Yeah, making us wait, honestly.
yeah. Well, a few years, because that's what happens, doesn't it? Like one series per year normally. Um,
Yeah,
um. So by around 2026, hopefully we'll find out.
hopefully we'll know by then. I don't know if
Yeah.
I can wait that long.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can wait that.
No, we waited a long time for the 60th, I think, didn't we? A year. So a year's a long time. So I don't know, but I'm very intrigued. I would love it to be someone related to the Doctor or something. That's not the Rani. That's not the Master. That's a new person.
Yeah,
But
it will be interesting. I know that there's Shooty, I think, said in an interview that there's lots of new characters coming, um, and I'd expect nothing less. So yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting to see who pops up, and I think it's going to be great because it will expand the universe even further. There'll be even more characters that we have. and yeah, I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to see where it goes.
Yeah, for the next, I think now it is great that we're focusing on more of the future, like especially as it's a new era now. Um,
Yeah,
because it's very important to go as much as we love having these old characters back and again, we want to have that for this current generation. That's probably you have people growing up watching Doctor Who now, so mm, mm. I think I
I lost you
froze.
for a second there. You
Yeah,
did.
yeah, I froze. Sorry.
What were you? You were saying
Yeah.
something about as good as it is to have old characters.
Yeah, I was saying, as good as it is having old characters back, which has happened a lot over, I guess, the last 10 years. Um,
Mm,
it's good. So we do that now for the current, but for the now. So in the next 10 years, we'll have new characters that we'll be going back to. So it's a whole new thing because, as well as it is kind of a follow on, as such from the Christmas special and what happened in the 60th. Which I imagine because of the Toymakers Legion. But we'll still be focusing on the future where we bring, like Shooty says, new monsters, new characters, scary stuff, not so scary stuff. So it's very exciting, isn't it?
it really is.
Yeah. But before we finish, Sam, I've got to ask you: do you have a favorite villain and a villain that scares you? Maybe growing up.
Oh, growing up, the villain that really scared me was the Candyman in the Sylvester McCoy era. I remember quite literally hiding behind the sofa at those episodes. You know, it's just oh yeah, really scared me. And favorite villain, oh, that's a really tough one. Um, do you know, I really really enjoyed Missy. Um, I really enjoyed Missy. I also really enjoyed Sasha Dohan as the master. Um, I thought he was just incredible. Um, oh, I don't know. I like. Do you know? Do you know what? The Slitheen have a very special place in my heart. Um, probably because um, they were in the Sarah Jane Adventures as well.
Yeah,
And the wonderful Lynette Badland, who um, was also in Wizards versus Aliens. Um,
yeah.
yeah, the Slitheen. Maybe the Slitheen will be my favorites.
They are. I'd love them to come back, you know. I think that it'd be lovely to see them again. Um, because they were pretty scary. Like that episode with Christopher Eccleston, but like when they first were shown, you know, when they were doing
When
that,
they
I was
unzip,
petrified.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. It's quite. Yeah, it's not a particularly nice idea, is it? Wearing somebody's skin.
Mm.
So, yeah.
I was always saying to my mum and dad, well, when I was watching it, is that okay happened to me? Am I gonna have a zip on my forehead? Is that okay happened to me? But yeah, my so the one that I was scared of growing up was the clockwork creatures. You know, the ones under the bed. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, I was petrified of them because I was looking under the bed all the time.
yeah, yeah. Well, but I think that's one of the great things, isn't it, about Doctor Who is that it can be scary, but it's good. It's like good scary. It's kind of safe scary.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
yeah.
But you mentioned Sasha Dewan. I think his master was perfect. I
Mm.
would I would love to meet him one day because he has Crohn's as well. Um, so it'd be nice because a lot of people go to him because of the Doctor Who probably as the
Mm.
master, and I don't know if many will go to him at conventions that have Crohn's too. So it'll probably be a
No.
surprise. So I'd love to
And
meet.
I'm sure he'd probably enjoy it as well because he's a really good advocate for Crohn's disease.
Yeah,
I haven't met him. I didn't. There was a convention that he was at that I wanted to go to, but didn't manage to make it work. But I have heard that he is very, very lovely. So
Yeah, I've
I'm
heard
sure
that
you would
too.
have a nice conversation with him.
It would be nice, for because they said in the 60th that the toy maker, that the master is now the two for the toy maker. So it'd be interesting if they could maybe get Sasha back. I don't know. They probably will move to a different actor now because it's a new era. But depending on what they want to do, that they could have Sasha like transformed into do a small snippet scene, where the master is transformed into Tooth of the toy maker or something.
Mm. Well, you never know. They might get him back as something else because Angeli
Maybe.
went into Doctor Who as a different character. So you never know. That's the joy. Slap enough of that fantastic makeup on them,
Yeah.
and they can be someone else.
It's crazy, isn't it? How they do things, how this like the characters are the people.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. But lastly, my favourite villain is probably the Weeping Angels. Um,
yeah, they are great.
because I remember going to the London. It was in London. Like they had one in Cardiff as well, but I didn't get to go to that one. Hopefully they bring it back one day. The Doctor Who experience. Um,
Mm.
so the one in London I went to, they had the Weeping Angels, and I didn't blink. Told everyone around me, don't blink, and I was being serious. They thought I was joking. So I was being serious. Don't blink. I didn't blink the whole 10 minutes. We were going past them. My eyes hurt when I got to the end.
You must have had very dry eyes by the end of that.
Yeah, and it was very dark as well. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, that is probably I love them, but I'm always petrified of them when I see them.
Mm.
Yeah. But Sam, thank you for coming on podcast today.
It's been a pleasure. It's been a lot of
Mm,
fun talking about
Yeah,
Doctor Who with you.
well, yeah, it has been lots of fun, and I hope you have a nice rest of your year. With what you get up to, enjoy the rest of Traitors as well.
Thank you. You too.
Yeah. But thanks, Sam. Thank you to anyone listening, watching today, and happy Easter. Which again, I say to Sam, it's quite weird for us because it's January when we're recording this. Uh, but yeah, happy Easter. But happy New Year, I guess. In this time period, Sam, happy New
Yeah, and to you.
Year. Thank you.